Okay, now here we have the equipment that we're going to use to make sure these two small Amazon swords stay on the bottom and don't float up. We have some rocks, we have super glue, we have aquarium co-op plant weights, and a pair of needle nose pliers that have the snips on them. So, how am I going to film this? So let's do the easiest. Well, they're both easy. Let's pick out a rock. Obviously, these are way bigger. I would use for a plant this size or this size a rock. So the reason I'm choosing this one to glue on is it doesn't have the root system like this one does. So for this one, it's pretty simple. Try to separate the roots out and get to the base. You try to get a little bit of glue. Usually I put the glue on the rock and then I hold the plant on. I ran out of the gel super glue. Normally I wouldn't use this. I actually already have some more coming. Give me a second. Okay. That might work actually sitting up there like that. So all I would normally do is take the little rock and with this one I might actually not use the flat side. There's a little hole here. I'm going to try to put the glue there. And we're not going to use much. Put a couple of drips. We take the plant and kind of see the roots. I don't necessarily want to glue the whole roots there, so I take the fat part of the stem and set it on there. And then you hold it and wait. We're not actually going to hold it and wait. We are going to set it up against the bucket and let it sit and hold itself up till it dries. With the gel glue, it would have been dried already. I'm not dried already, but it would have been able to hold its own. Now, for the other one, we're going to use the aquarium weight. This weight is obviously way too big for this little tiny one. Yeah, I could wrap it around a few times. And I do that with, I'll show you some of the other bigger plants that I have used it on. Usually I'll use it on some bigger plants when I need to transplant them just to keep them down in the beginning. Okay. I think that'll be enough. This little piece here. So I'm going to try to get all the roots that I want to grow down, which are kind of stuck up in there. There's a few more. And then I'm going to take this weight, and usually I try to bend it first a little bit so I don't have to work around the plant. So I try to bend it there. I know where my roots are, and I actually try to hit that little ball that's at the end of the root. So I have roots at the bottom, I have the plant at the top, and then this fat part is where I'm going to put the weight. So I don't put it real tight. The plant, it doesn't come out easy. I see I'm pulling on it a little bit, it doesn't come out. The roots are below it, so you would just put that and you try to put the weight at least at the substrate, maybe into the substrate a little bit. And then what you would do is, we are going on a little adventure. So you drop the one with the weight we dropped in. Here goes the one with the rock. So we would just push this weight into, this isn't very deep substrate by the way. Push that in and you see there's a couple of roots sticking up. I would just cover the roots up as best I could. With this one, you either leave with the I use the rocks on some that other tanks I have, and just set it in there because it matches, but here it doesn't. So I just covered the rock up, and that's basically it. Now, if we go to a tank like over here, I was sick, and the plants, you can tell, are not all trimmed and nice and perfect right now, but these actually have big roots. This one has roots that come out to here, only because I've had to move it before. And this one came from another tank, so I know it has huge roots. But when I first put them in, I put that little tiny weight on them. And you can see there's new leaves in the center growing, but it does need to be trimmed on the outside here and everything. Same thing with, here's these Amazon swords in here. This Amazon sword, there's another one in the back and the one in the corner. But the one in the back and the one in the corner here, they have roots that were reaching all the way across the tank. Because I had this one in the back corner, back here, where my moss ball is, there's actually a red sword. And there's another red sword, but it's hidden back here behind this moss tree. But these bigger Amazon swords, they don't have to be huge. Their roots will grow all the way across. This is Eco Complete in this one. Otherwise, I'll run pretty much anything in them. This one has sand. Same thing, it's got an Amazon sword. Because they produce so much, I have no problem putting them in pretty much anything, and they'll grow in pretty much anything. This tank has some Amazon sword in it. These came from another tank because there were so many in that tank that they had started to take over, so I'm at the point where I don't need any more Amazon sword. But you can see how the process to weigh them down and put them in the substrate to keep them set is simple. I like the weights for bigger plants and the glue for smaller plants.